Hello and welcome to this video on English grammar. This is Preetinder Kaur for Perfect Scores, and in this video we are going to continue with pronouns. And if you watched the previous video, you might have covered the topic of personal pronouns. Well, in this video we're going to cover the next kind of pronoun, which is the reflexive. So let me write that down. Reflexive and emphatic pronouns. So emphatic, the word comes from the word emphasis, and we'll see how this one is related to emphasis. So whenever the word self is added to words such as my, him, her, it, or if the word selves is added to words such as our, your, them, we get pronouns that are known as compound personal pronouns. You may not need to remember what these pronouns are named as, what is their name, but you need to remember that you cannot use the word self with words like our, your, and them. And you cannot use the word selves with words like my, him, her, and it. So let's look at some more examples, and these are also known as reflexive pronouns. So that is what reflexive stands for. And they're known as reflexive pronouns when the action done by the subject reflects upon the subject. That is when these kind of pronouns will be known as reflexive pronouns. Let's look at a few examples. I love myself. Now in this sentence, the subject is I, and this action also reflects back to the subject, which is I. For example, we love ourselves. The subject is we, and this action is reflected back. Or let's say she loves herself. Again, the subject is she, and this action reflects back upon the subject, which is she. So these are known as the reflexive pronouns. Myself is a reflexive pronoun, ourselves is a reflexive pronoun, and herself is a reflexive pronoun. You can add so many examples using each of these. For example, he went there himself. She did her work herself. The dog ate its food itself. You need to go there yourselves. They need to go there themselves. And it will be noticed that each of these reflexive pronouns is used as the object of a verb. So reflexive pronouns are used as object of a verb, and it refers to the same person or the same thing that is denoted by the subject. So theoretically speaking, the subject and the object are actually the same person in case of the first one. And in the second sentence, also the subject and the object, they both denote a particular set of people. It's the same people. And in the third one, the object and the subject both, even if the words are different, they refer to the same female. So that is one point that you need to remember. So let's go and see what happens sometimes in the English language. Now sometimes in older English, not in the English that we use right now, but in older English, especially in poetry, a simple pronoun could also be used reflexively. For example, he thinks nothing of self. And in this case, you see the word self. Now, self is sometimes used as a noun as well, which is what is happening in this case. And let's take another example. Another example of, again, older English. I lay me down to sleep. So in this case, if it's the modern English right now, in case of me, you should have used myself. But this is something that you may come across in some kind of poem or old literature, so don't get confused by that. So these are the two things that we've just learned. That sometimes in older English, you can use a simple pronoun in a reflexive manner without adding the word self. And the second thing is that the word self is sometimes used as a noun. So let's see what is the next kind of pronoun, which is the emphatic pronoun. So what we have done so far is all about reflexive pronouns. So let's see what happens in emphatic pronouns. Now in emphatic pronouns, look at this sentence. I will eat myself. Do your work yourself. He himself drove the car. Now you see, observe one thing. In each of these sentences, even if you remove these pronouns, even if you just say that the sentence is, I will eat, or do your work, or he drove the car, even then grammatically it's correct. Now, so when these compound personal pronouns, they're used for the sake of emphasis. They are known as emphatic pronouns. Now remember, reflexive pronouns were not for emphasis. Reflexive pronouns are when the action done by the subject turns back upon the subject. For example, I love myself. But in this case, what we're doing is we are putting emphasis. That's why they're called emphatic pronouns. But again, unless you're giving a test on English grammar and the terms will be part of the test, you don't need to remember these names, but just remember the correct usage. So that is all about the emphatic pronouns and the reflexive pronouns. So that is all for this video. In the next video, we are going to discuss more on demonstrative, indefinite, and distributive pronouns. So thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to send us your suggestions and feedback at support@perfectscores.org. Thank you so much.